Get the likes up. Get the likes up. Come on, y'all. Get the likes up. Hey, what? Get the likes up. Hey, come on, y'all. Get the likes up. Get the likes up. Come on. What? What? Get the likes up. Yeah. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Get the likes up. Get the likes up. Come on, y'all. DJ, stop the beat. How y'all doing? What's going on? We do have some serious matters to address on this live right now. But before I start, I just want to say, hey, how you guys doing? How are you guys doing out here in these streets? And it's sad that a lot of you all, when we're talking about real news that's going on, you guys are not here for it. You know, why is that? I wonder why, because you really don't care. You really don't care about what's going on in this community. And it shows by your support and how you show up in the world. But besides that, we're going to do our duties to inform you guys what's going on with Tyre Nichols. Rest in peace. I know you guys have heard it. They came out and find out all those cops. It was a gang of cops that did horrible things to Tyrese. Put pause on him, and to the point where he was unalive, gone. And guess what? They got acquitted for it. And it rings a message that they're sending. If you are a cop, you can get away with anything, even if you're a black cop. And then they say these cops were part of the Omega and Psi, those sororities people. And they said they are part of the Boule or something like that. You said, what is a Boule? I don't know what it is. They're talking about the Boule is something like the Lumi. The Illuminati, yeah, they be working with them. They're the higher ups. They're like the elite that's always going to look out for their people when their people are doing crimes. You know, we are living in crazy, strange times. And also, we got to talk about this guy. He used to play on That's So Raven, honey. He's in a hospital looking real bad. And he's like, please pray for him. Please pray for him. And he's asking for money. Now, some people are like, well, Raven, it's your job. Why is it Raven's job? Leave black women alone. Hell, that's a black man. I'm sure he got a wife. He got a kid somewhere. Hell yeah. You know, what he did with all that money, I don't know. You know, but it shouldn't be Raven's fault every time. Why do y'all look on for these celebrities to be your savior? What about his pastor? What about the church? The church, they got all this money. They're supposed to be all forgiving and helping the needy. You know, but leave Raven alone with it. But we have to talk about that. So later on today, I'm thinking I'm going to do a GG with the T. GG with the T. Okay, Tyre. Did I say it right? Child, did I say Tyrese? Oh, Tyre. And let me tell y'all, I may need help, okay, talking about this. So feel free to come up here, hit that link at the top of the chat. Come up here and talk to me about it, okay? How y'all doing? And clearly y'all can hear me if y'all say I'm messing up people's names, okay? Raven is a black, she says so herself. Well, okay, well, I don't care what she ain't black, but I see her as a black girl. Okay. And I don't think Raven mind that I see her as a black girl. She might be mixed, but I still see her as a black girl. I don't care. And Raven don't mind. Raven, I don't know Raven, but I know Raven. I don't think Raven mind if I call her a black girl. You know what I'm saying? Okay. But she was talking about something else. That got nothing to do with what we talking about right now. You know what I'm saying? She's talking about something else. But anyway, we got those two things to talk about. Oh, shoot. Puzzle. Haven't seen Puzzle in a minute. I thought you forgot about me, Miss Puzzle. How you doing,
I ain't forget
Puzzle?
about you. What's up? I ain't forget about you.
What's going on? So, how do I properly pronounce his name?
Tyre Nichols.
Tyre Nichols. And how
Yeah.
do you feel about this? And can you tell the
Oh,
public more about it?
I'm pissed off because for them to be acquitted on 21 charges, because there were six apiece. I don't know. I have no words. My heart goes out to his mom. Like, it's one thing to hear that this happened, but to watch it, to see it, and then to have 12 jurors. And they got them from Chattanooga. And from what I can foresee, I heard someone say they were in the courtroom and it was 12 white jurors, which in
White,
this instance,
all
I don't care
right.
what color you are. What was it that you heard? What did you do when you deliberated for 9 hours that there was not one or more charges that you could not find these men guilty? I don't care what anybody says. That for me, it is hard to watch. It hurts me. But to know that they came back and said not guilty, you can't have faith in a justice system like that. You can't have faith in police they can blatantly beat and kill someone and then be found, excuse me, and then be found not guilty. My heart is broken. Like, I am devastated. I cannot believe that.
Yeah. It sends a strong message. I understand. I'm irritated. I'm frustrated too, because also the people, the reaction of the people, I just feel like it's so weak. Ain't nobody doing nothing.
Hmm.
Where the black man at? Where the
Hmm.
black man at? Why ain't the black men out here doing something about it? They just laying by and they just having their arguments about women with
Hmm.
wigs. But
Hmm.
what about the real situation here? And they are saying the
Hmm.
cops that did this were a part of the boule. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Can you go
Yeah.
in more about the boule and the kappas and stuff, like you guys were talking about with Angie Stone at that funeral and stuff?
Well, if I'm not mistaken, one of the cops was I think he's an Omega or something like that. But it's not even just it's the fraternity. You have a fraternal order that the cops have, and my thing is, you think to yourself for a few moments in watching this trial, and I talked to my sister about this, having a legal background. And I think Tanisha Johnson, she was a part of the prosecution when she came back and she did her rebuttal for the closing. I think she did an amazing job. Here's where it bothers me. Do I feel like the prosecution could have done a better job, brought up more character witnesses or witnesses, and brought more information? Absolutely, because they had five people that they brought to the stand, and the defense brought 17. But the reality for me is when I go back and I look at that video, when you pull Tyre Nichols over, he was well and fine. And their thing was he's on something. Well, you had someone on the stand that says they found a minimal amount of alcohol in his system and a minimal amount of like weed. There was nothing more wrong with him than he was scared. He was angry. But I guess what bothers me, and it's unsettling because there were only two of the officers that pled guilty, is that you can go to sleep at night and know that all five of you all played a part in beating this man to the fact that he was unalive, and his mom has to live with that. And I don't care what color you are. They were a scorpion group, and their job was, let's get to the drugs and the guns off the street so they can forcefully pull you over with no reason, for no reason. And they did that with him. And everybody's like, well, they were saying, put your hands behind your back. He was a buck 80. Them was some big ass linebacking ass dudes that what really happened is you got angry that he got away from you, and he was really running home because he was scared. And even if he should not have run, by the time they caught him, you were holding him up. Stop saying, give me your hands. He was not big enough that you could not have restrained him. So the fact that everybody was involved in it, and the banter that they had after it was over, and the insulting things that they were saying about, how they were beating him up. And then to get to the hospital, and as days go past, his mom has to walk in and see him that way. But for each one of those guys, it begs the question of, first of all, you had, I forget his name. I forget what his role was in the Memphis Police Department, but in 2023, when it happened, he came on TV and said that what they did was unlawful. It was not a part of their training. It was not purposeful. It was not done properly. But it's funny to me if they did everything by the book, and I always say I got that one question: why are they ex-officers? If what you did followed the protocol of the Memphis Police Department, why are you an ex-officer?
Mm.
You can't bring Tyree back. But then
Yeah.
you sit on this trial, and the defense, defense, they brought about a good case to get them off. But you got to ask yourself, what kind of jury did you have that was okay with acquitting them on all charges, even if you said not guilty to second degree murder? I mean, oh my God, my heart is. I'm so just.
Well, I think also we have to take in mind this is how I feel. I feel like right now we're very in political warfare. You know, do you
Mhm,
guys agree? Press one if you feel like we are in a
mhm,
political warfare, meaning that a lot of things that are coming down now is not going to be right. It's not going to be justice. When has it ever been justice in America? Never. Okay. And now this time we know that this Trump administration is on the police side. It doesn't matter. He already said they're going to get immunity, and they don't want too much accountability when it comes to the cops. They are pushing a lot of these cops and training cops into the urban city, and they are making it a mission to stop the crime in the black cities. Trump has said this
mhm,
recently that he is putting up a lot of police people and the police that are training into urban cities. They're gonna camp it out, and he said that the black people, this is what they want. This is what they want. This is what they want. So I hear a lot of people upset about that, but I say that to say that this case right here, I feel like this administration have their hands in this too because it's a big deal. All eyes was on this, and these cops were a part of the cops. So, and this is the
yeah,
black body. People are saying, they don't care about black bodies. I mean, historically, they never cared about black bodies. They never seen black bodies as human or one of them or equal to anyway. So they don't mind and say, hey, this could be a casualty, we might do better next time, but at the same time we have to send a message to the cops that we have your back. Go out there, strong hard, do your duty. You're not going to get penalized. Don't worry about it. We got your back no matter what.
I mean, and I guess the other thing is like it reminds me, Gigi, so much. You think about Emmett Till, how they lied, and all of the people that killed him, the guys they got off, and then 50 years later, the lady writes a tell-all saying that she fabricated her story, and they all came back and said, "Oh well, I did it." And that's what I feel like in this instance. Like, what purpose, or what did Tyre Nichols' life serve? What purpose did it serve if you're okay with saying not guilty? And we literally, it's not like we heard about it. We visually see the tape. We see it. We
Yeah,
hear it. And I think that if that had that, huh?
I said you're right. We did
What you
see it. We saw the tape. We saw it.
Yes, and if you didn't see it, then maybe I could be like, okay, well, I don't know. But the fact that you can see it, that is what tears me up. Like, in watching this trial, they played that video so much, Gigi. You saw so many different parts of it. You heard so many things. And for you to sit on a juror, like to be a juror and sit on a jury, and to see that every single day, 8 days, 8 days, and you can come back and say not guilty. I'm like, something in my heart is like, who was back there with you? What did they say? How much did they pay you?
I feel like we are in a dictator administration. So it doesn't matter. They're going to flex their power. If they can flex their power with countries 50,000 miles away, I'm sure they can reach into that place where the jurors are and
Yeah.
get to each and
Yes.
every one of them, and have it go their way. I mean, this is America. This is not foreign how they get down when it comes to dictatorship and control. So I think the thing is, what are the people going to do? Are they going to sit back and be quiet? And if they do, then they know, hey, our muscles are flexing. It's time to move, and we can be a little bit more aggressive. Because we have to remember, right now, this is their softest era. Okay, we
Mm,
haven't reached a
mm,
hard era yet. This is just the beginning. This is the soft. This is the preview, as we will. So they're testing you out, and they're flexing the muscle to see exactly how far they can do. And black people, they said they are afraid. They're scared. They're afraid to protest, because if they do, they're afraid they're going to get rounded up or get shot down. I mean, just like Cinco de Mayo was May the 5th. They said a lot of Mexicans were afraid to celebrate because they're afraid their people. And if
yeah.
you are legal, you still might get your ass rounded up. Okay, so they was a scared
But you
this.
know what? That's what's really sad right now, is because you really think about it for a moment. You go out, you protest, and you're so passionate about trying to get justice for Tyre Nichols. I think back to when Trayvon Martin was killed by Zimmerman, and I was out, and and it's like, does it fall on deaf ears? Not only does it fall on deaf ears, but as much as because you think, yes, his mom, his dad, or whoever, his siblings, they hurt, but we hurt with them. And you think about all of these different things that are happening right in front of us, and it's like, if you didn't know any better, you would want to believe that they think, oh, these people, they just falling for it, they're crazy. But we're not. But it's nothing we can do about it, to the point that you made, Gigi, because there's more fear and reluctancy right now, because you don't know what the backlash will be. You don't know how it will affect you. Nobody can afford to not have what they need to survive. So it's like, do I just continue to sit back and get quiet? But even when you say
Don't
something,
sit
no.
back and be quiet. Now you all say, I'm not my ancestors. I'm not my
Mm-hmm.
ancestors. You're right. You're not your ancestors, because your ancestors, they put their life on the line for others. And this
Mm-hmm.
group right here, to me, is very selfish. So I don't think they're too afraid. They're too comfortable with the materialistic things that they have. They're too
Yeah.
comfortable
Yeah.
with all they have been given by the government. They don't want anything to move. So they don't want to sacrifice. I mean, the community, in my eyes, is no community. Where is the community? Who is the head leader of the community? When the last time
Right.
y'all had a town hall meeting for the community? When the last time the community did something to you? It's just like a phantom. It y'all say it, but it ain't real. It ain't real.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
but I do feel that everything matters. When you go out there and you protest, it does matter. Somebody is saying it. It does have an effect. One side is probably going to be like, okay, they're reacting. They may get more aggressive. The other side, people that see this and people that have humanity left in them and the righteous, they do see it. And it
Mm-hmm.
does make them realize that, hey, possibly we have to do something. Maybe it don't have the cause and effect as fast as you want it to, but it matters. Everything matters. I mean, how we got
Correct.
here is from people complaining and say, hey, I'm tired of these people. They feel like, hey, they're sitting at the same table and we're catering to them. They're getting so much privilege. We have to stop this. We need to take America back again.
Yeah.
It came from their voices, and it continued, and other people saw it, and it mounted up. But by sitting there and just being afraid and just being distracted by twerking all day, and this streamer and
Mhm.
that streamer, that ain't gonna help, because they coming at your door sooner or later. It's a list.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a list. They checking it twice.
Hmm.
Okay, they gonna come. Okay,
You
so
know what triggered me too, Gigi? Because I totally agree. When I was listening on my way home from work, I was listening to the jury read the verdict. And when it was over, when I saw them hugging each other and embracing, it infuriated me. And
why?
and I say that because I know that they're celebrating, oh, we're not guilty, but
Okay, Puzzle has frozen. You know what I think when Puzzle
can
was
you see
talking?
me?
Yeah, I can see you. I can. You frozen. Okay, you moving now. You
Okay,
said
okay.
they start hugging each other. The cops that got away. It
Yeah.
made you. Why did it make you mad?
It was infuriating because it was like you all are celebrating a win when we have sat here and watched this man be beat to death, and his mom them are suffering and we're hurting, and now we actually and I hate to use the
They
word
don't
fear,
care about
but
that puzzle. They're not one of
they don't.
you. Just like
They don't.
Kendrick, they ain't like us. They not like that.
Yeah.
So you're gonna see a division in the Black community where Black people do not see themselves as part of you. I mean, they were already didn't see that Black man as a Black man, as part of them,
Hmm.
as a community, or they would have gave him more grace. And they did not
Yeah.
give that brother grace at all. They treated him
Nope.
like the scum, the bottom of the earth. They treated him like a virus. Okay. So they were already long gone. So for them, it's like, thank you, Donald Trump. Thank you, this administration, for looking out for us. We are definitely going to be more on your side, and we're going to be loyal to you. And F the others, okay? Because they see you as the others. Even though you got the same skin color, they don't give a damn about that. Okay, it's all about ideology. And
Hmm.
it sends a message to the other Blacks that is trying to figure out, should I stay loyal to, the rights, or should I stay loyal to this side? They're going to go more to the Trump administration because they see, hey, I can get away, I can have power. And a lot of people, they do want power, they do want privilege. They don't want to be sitting in amongst other people that they deem is lesser than.
Right.
Okay, so they're gonna say, hey, he got our back. I'm gonna stay loyal to him because that is the guy that's gonna be loyal to me when I get in trouble. So it sends that message. And I feel like, hey, we made the right choice. They don't care about that Black man dying. Hell, you know that. They don't care about your feelings. They don't.
Mm-mm, they
And I
don't.
think
They
that
don't.
you make a mistake feeling like people care. Like you crying and you think that's going to have tug on their heartstrings. They're just going to see you as a weak link. Good. We need to get rid of weak links in America. We need the intelligent. We need the strong, because right now, America feels like it's too weak. It's too feminine. And we need to be strong, and we need to bring real strongness back to dominate. Okay. Right now, the whole world is going through a transition. China
Yeah.
ain't doing good. Russia ain't doing good. Right now, people are getting together, and it's about to be hell on wheels. Okay, so we're
Mhm.
gonna figure out who's really gonna come in top, and America is banking on America. That right now we can dominate. That's why we can do the tariffs on China, because China is not in a place to really make moves. There are people over there are protesting. They're not making money. Russia, you already know, they have millions of young men dying every week. They're losing people.
Mhm.
So the world right now is in chaos. But of course, they don't want you to feel that way. Just trust in the administration, everything's going to happen fine. So we would just have to see, and it's going to wear warfare here, because now we have to instill discipline. And this past, they feel like, the world, you guys are not disciplined enough. So we're going to put that switch out. We're going to start disciplining the Black community, getting them order. And with that, how do you discipline Blacks? Push fear. You better be scared. You better sit your ass down. Okay. When the cops come, you're going to have more respect for the cops now. So yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. And we got
No,
somebody
no, no.
else.
You didn't. No, you didn't cut me off in any way. I totally agree with you. It's just it's so hard to reflect on it. Like it is hard to take it all in. But you're right. You can't get silent. We do have to fight for it, but it is just so hard watching all of these horrible things right now with no justice. You know what I'm saying? And unfortunately, you hear people say no justice, no peace, but that's exactly what it is. Where there is no justice, there is no peace, because you can't find peace in chaos, and that's a lot of what this is. But
Well, if they're gonna start doing anything, they better start doing it by yesterday, because the more
yeah,
you wait, the more
yeah,
harder it's gonna get.
yeah,
It's gonna be hell to pay, especially when he started putting that enforcing those boots on the ground. Martial law, it is gonna
yeah.
set place. Martial law is coming to a city near you. Okay, like they rounding up all these they got ICE rounding up all these immigrants and legal people. Honey, no new world order. We've been telling y'all that. We've been telling y'all that. We'll stay right there. Hold on. I got somebody else on the
Okay.
line.
Okay.
How
I'm not
are
going
you?
nowhere.
How's it going?
Good evening. How are you? I hope all is well with you and your family. Peace, love, and joy.
Peace,
Mm.
love, and joy. What are
Mm,
your thoughts about the matter?
Peace, love, and joy to you as well. Puzzle. Uh, I'm disappointed. I'm not as disappointed as I thought I would be because I kind of figured this would be the result. Especially looking at the jury pool and the city that it came from. And I want everyone to not judge Memphis too much because this is not a jury that came from Memphis. This is a jury that came from Chattanooga, completely different city. This, like, according to the prosecution, they chose this city because they did a poll, and with the poll, it showed the least amount of press conference in regards to this case, which is why they chose that area. I'm still not okay with that city. I feel like it was extremely disrespectful what they did. And I fought the prosecution, even though I feel like they did okay. I feel like they rested too early. I watched every day of that trial. I felt like they rested too early and they felt so comfortable with the video evidence that they felt like they didn't have to do anything else. And that was a major disappointment for me. Especially knowing that you're putting this on in front of an all-white jury. There was only one person that was possibly non-white, and she was excused yesterday. So it literally was an all-white jury, and you just became too comfortable. They was extremely too comfortable, and they are just as much at fault for that jury selection as the defense. They have so many yes and no's. And all y'all agreed at the end of the day, all y'all agreed to this jury, which was all white. So I don't know how you expect me to go out here and feel as a black woman. Am I supposed to be okay because y'all let the white folks off after they unalive us? And now you just let some black cops off, former black cops? Because there was a reason why you're a former police officer. There's a reason why you're a former police officer. So at some point in time, you violated so many rules, but you just acquitted each one of them of all 7 charges. I kind of figured that they probably would be found not guilty for the second-degree murder charge, but I kind of figured that involuntary manslaughter at the least, and the rest of the charges after, I figure they'll be found guilty of. But every last charge, all 7 charges, each one of them were found not guilty of. I don't know. It's too much for me. It's too much for me. It's too much for me. And it was a major disappointment. And it actually brought me back down to reality. Because I honestly thought that Derek Chauvin would have received this fate. I never thought all 3 of the black men would have received this fate. So Derek Chauvin gets found guilty, and he pretty much is gone off for the rest of his life. But these 3 black men get off.
But I think it has to do with the timing too, right? When did Derek Chauvin? Isn't that a different time period and different?
That was during Trump. That was during Trump's first time. That was during his first doggone freaking presidency. Yeah,
No,
because
this
he
is
had us during COVID.
this is 2.0 Trump, so this gonna hit different.
I guess so, Auntie. I guess so.
This gonna hit different. You don't. Well, everybody is saying that people are treating Trump like the 1.0 Trump, and that is the wrong play because he is totally different. He's more confident. He got his hands in. He got the Project 2025 backing him. He got a lot of things, up his sleeve. So he ain't the same one. It's a different version. But tell me this: why do you think the whole white jury did not give Mr. Nicholson grace? Why? Why is it?
Because he was black. He was
That is
black.
so hard to digest for so many people.
It's
People
true
don't want
though.
to believe it's
He
that
was.
simple, black and white. You can't. That's race baiting.
It
So can you
is.
go
But
more
anybody,
to it?
the first day of trial, the first witness was his mother.
His mama.
And if your heart did not break listening to her speak, and that was the number one witness, if your heart did not break and sympathize with her, and then after that, that video was played time after time after time with each witness, even with the defense, even
Yep.
the defense, doggone freaking their character witnesses that were supposed to be expertise of the police department and their policies, even they said it was excessive force.
Mhm.
Even they agreed that if those officers seen what was being done during that time, it would have been deemed excessive force.
So let's ask this: if Mr. Nicholson was a 19 white girl, do you think it would be different?
Yeah,
Hell
it would
yeah.
have been completely different. It would have been completely different. I don't even know if they would have prosecuted everything at the state level. They would have prosecuted everything at the state level just to add on to the fire. But they would have went for the unaliving part on federal level. At the federal level, these jokers, these black former officers receive less in federal court.
Mm-hmm.
They receive less than Derek Chauvin. He would
Mm-hmm.
never get out to see the light of day. And that's a white cop. But you have three black officers that did less. That did more. All
Yeah.
Derek did, and I'm not trying to take away from his actions, but he just put a knee on the neck. These jokers literally beat a man
To death.
into a coma to where he had his organs eventually shut down.
Now, could
I
you
don't,
imagine seeing that video of all those black cops doing that to a 19 white girl and she's just screaming?
well, we seen what happened with the other black officer that doggone freaking did excessive force towards the white Australian. They tried to hang him, and that was a few years ago. I can't remember his name, but that was a few years ago. They tried to take him to the slammer.
Mm.
So if it was the other way around, if 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 Tyree color would have been a little different, we wouldn't be here today having this conversation. We wouldn't be here to having this conversation. I can't even tell you that in today's society, with the current administration that we have, even if those officers' colors would have been different, I feel like we still would have had the same verdict. But
Mm.
if Tyree's skin color was a little different, we wouldn't be having this. We
And
wouldn't have this
let's
topic.
go into it a little bit. So I think that stereotypes, it plays a big deal when it comes to skin color and race. Or do you feel like you just have to do with the skin color period? Do you feel that people have a negative stereotype when they see a dark colored person?
I
They
most
associate
yes.
them with the worst, with evil, and that's the association. So we do have to realize, that how you are out here representing everything, really, it does matter. And that's not to give an excuse, and that's still horrible, but I guess that's where the race come in at. Is it, or do you feel like it's just because you have that color, they have a hate towards the color? Or is it the color is associated with so many nefarious characteristics?
I think it's a little bit of all. I think it's a little bit of all, but I feel like the darker the hue, the less grace you will receive. I
And
feel
because of the skin color alone, or because they associate that skin color with nefarious characteristics?
yes, the second part, the latter part.
Associate the skin color with nefarious characteristics. So, say for instance, if somebody come with a hoodie on, so a lot of people associate a male with hoodie on as they associated with nefarious characteristics. is not necessarily the hood per se, but they see the hoodie and they associate it with these horrible characteristics.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Unfortunately. And I don't really feel comfortable talking about this as per se because I am of a lighter hue. Um, but I definitely feel like that's what other demographics go by. I
Mm,
definitely feel that. Me, I'm more so outspoken. I use me being of a lighter hue to be more vocal. But I'm still targeted as much. I'm still targeted as well, but I don't think I would be targeted as much if I don't think I'm targeted as much because of my hue. The Yeah, I don't think I am, but
mm,
I guess we won't never know if nobody else stands beside me that is of a darker hue.
mm.
But I
Now,
am an
Danielle, sorry to cut you off. Danielle
mhm.
says, I was told that this is told to all who enter the America. I guess people have this. I heard the story that when not, people of different immigration come to America, they tell them about the Black Americans and to stay away, and pretty much they are
They
nefarious.
do. They do. They definitely do.
So if
Um,
they're telling these immigrants, is it some way that we may not see it that they are telling other Americans the same story? So therefore, when someone is sitting on a jury and they see Tyrese or Mr. Nicholson, they see the beating, but in their mind they feel like a cop is just not going to go out their way to do something that he has to be doing something nefarious, and I don't want to punish the cops because through this last administration they try to get rid of the cops and we need the cops, so therefore I'm going to be loyal. And I think it's a thing of being loyal to their people, and they see that I'm not going to hang my people for this person that is associated with nefarious acts, which is my enemy. I think it's the loyal complex because, say, for instance, if you have a mom and the mom has a son that's done horrible things, a lot of moms are going to side with their son no matter what, even if their son is guilty. They're going to side with their son and they're not going to give grace to the other because their son is at jeopardy. And I feel like in America, people see that as the cops. The cops is part of them, it's part of their own. That's their soldiers. That's their protector. And I'm not going to hang my protector up for other. So I don't know. That's just an idea that popped in my head. You guys can respond to that.
I'd like to hear from Puzzle because I gave my response as a lot of hue person, and I don't want to too much take over with the colorism
What's the
speaking.
question? Well, what's the color? The question, because I got booted out. What was it?
Got it. So we started talking about, and I was asking her because she says, it's an all white jury. I said, well, why did the all white jury didn't give Mr. Nicholson any grace? I
Right.
said, was it just about the skin color alone, or do they associate skin color with nefarious characteristics? And then Danielle said that when people come to America, they warn them that Black Americans, they have nefarious characteristics. So that's when we start going into like the hoodie, because you know how people see hoodie, not necessarily
Mhm.
hoodie itself is bad, right? People will buy a hoodie. But the thing is, when you see a male with the hoodie, a lot of times people associate that male with that hoodie on in public as nefarious characteristics. So I was asking, what is it? Is it the color itself, or is it the nefarious characteristics that is stuck on the color?
For me, I think it's the intimidation. I don't think it matters what color you are when you're black. I think black people bring such a strength and a power that I think a lot of people get intimidated. For example, when you think about Tyre Nichols, and I think you said it earlier, Gigi, I think it's just the fraternal order of the cops. I think that when I think about that jury, It doesn't matter what color those cops were. To your point, they're not going to back Tyree. It doesn't matter that they literally saw what happened. He's a black dude. He pretty much got what he deserved. The cops got him. He shouldn't have run. There are all different reasons why they can say, well, well, maybe he should have done this, maybe he should have done that. I think there is a great intimidation that we bring to this world because, as you stated, our ancestors, there may have been one way that they stood up, but we're not as fearful as we used to be. And in these instances, like, I think it's disheartening for Black America when you see five Black cops beat a Black man to a point where he dies. Yeah, that's even worse on our end. But when you look at this jury, and yes, she's correct, it's 12 jurors they got from Chattanooga. From the aspect of what I think, no, I wasn't surprised that they were found not guilty, but I didn't think it would be on all charges. But when you go back and you think about what their purpose is, they're not going to put a bunch of cops in jail because, oh, well, this one man. Because when their defense got up there, a lot of them was saying, yes, what they did was wrong. And, it was something that they should have or could have said or done. But they justify it by saying, well, when we look at this documentation, and what they did, it follows the proper protocol. For me, I think if it was, I mean, shoot, you look at these people that are, when we think about colorism, Black is Black. Tiger Woods, he's, how people would say, oh, Tiger Woods is this, Tiger Woods. You got a little Black in you, you're Black. Black is Black. But I just think the deciding factor is, what is it that I can do to gain power, to anger, to intimidate? That's a lot of what I get. For me, without saying what I do for a living, I gotta work harder than the next person. And it doesn't matter what color I am. It does. Well, no, I take that back. It does matter what color I am. But I'm also a Black woman, and I'm a lesbian, and I'm intelligent, and I'm educated. And so when I come before people and I bring value, for them it's like, oh, you're not going to do that. And so what I'll do is I'll take credit for your hard work and then kind of discount you or discredit you because I know that you're just a little bit better than I am. So when I think of that, am I hurt with the decision? Yes. But am I surprised? No. No, I'm not surprised. Me, I don't care what nobody says. I truly believe, first of all, and I agree. And I'm so sorry because I don't want to say your name incorrectly, but I do agree that the prosecution could have had a stronger case because I almost feel like once they picked those jurors, there was some conversation that had to be had because, as she stated, that mama got on the she actually was called to the stand first for more than 20 minutes. She poured out her heart, and you saw this video repeatedly. The fact that that is in my head and I can see that right now, and it didn't bother them and they didn't see the wrong in that, a decision I feel like was already made before the trial even started. Like, I don't know if there's anything that could have been said or done. You come back 9 hours later. I really feel like for 4 hours, let's stay in here, let's talk. And then, for the other 5 hours, let's stay here.
So
I
I
agree.
want to
Yeah, I
say,
agree with you. I'm
uh, and,
sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm so sorry.
and here for it all, they said those jurors believe that Mr. Nicholson was complicit in what occurred to him. So to me, it sounds like they're sending a message as well that
Mhm.
if you disobey the cops, you have a chance of dying, and that's on you. When the cops tell you to do something, you obey authority. Okay? You have to obey the authority. If you
Or
run from the
die.
cops, then possibly you are doing nefarious things because why run from the cops? You know?
But
So
the bigger thing here,
seeing the cops, they see the cops as a protector. They don't see the
Mm.
cop like other Black people see the cops because they have a different experience with the cops, and they cannot get that in their head. It's no doing that. But go ahead.
another thing that I would like to add is that we still have the civil trial. We still have the civil trial. So that jury is then going to have to be selected unless they want to go back, unless they want to go before a judge. At this point, if I was the family, I would just go before a judge. I wouldn't even trust the state of Tennessee to select me a jury at this point. And
Mm-mm.
I would
Tennessee,
not even
come
trust,
on
I
now.
would not, I
Tennessee.
wouldn't trust it because this crime happened in Memphis. They chose a completely different city to select all those members of the jury from. I think it was like 14 or 16. They excused the other two alternates. One got sick or whatever the case may be, and they excused two others. So that it was a whole white jury that they selected,
In Shelby
prosecution
County.
included. The prosecution included, because like you literally had to, when you go through jury selection, the prosecution and the defense has to agree
Hmm.
on that person, unless they sat there and said no too many times. After they said no too many times and the defense says yes, or whatever the case may be, other way around, that person is automatically selected. So they literally purposely went through and they selected this jury type. Give or take,
But
you
you,
may have had like two or three from the prosecution that they did not want. But overall, the prosecution selected this jury just as much as the defense.
but you know what's even funnier? In Shelby County, that is what was a little bit surprising. I do understand because of the passion behind it happening in Memphis that you technically can't find good jurors that would be unbiased in Shelby County, but to go to Chattanooga and to pull a all white jury, and I'm pretty sure it was a bunch of women, older men, and they may have been of other ethnicities if they weren't white, but probably older. That, and then on top of that, it's like you think about the federal trial. Yes, you're still waiting for sentencing, and yes, there's still a civil trial, but to have a trial in Shelby County, that's what's like irritating my
Well,
life.
no,
You're
they
in
said
Shelby County.
what? No, they said that the jury was all white. There was
Hmm.
only one juror that was excused that may not have been white. They can't say that she was black. They don't know what she was. All we know is that it was a female and they could not determine what race she was. So the rest of everybody else was white. They made that very clear. So that right there was just like all white jury.
Mm,
To me, it was a trigger. Like here we are, leaving
Hmm.
our fate again in front of an all white jury, when I think somebody quoted, I have not researched and I probably should research the percentage of that particular city. I think somebody said it was 54% white. So
Talking about
if
Chattanooga? Yes.
yes. So I think somebody said, am I correct when I said 54%?
Yeah, it was in the 50s. I don't know the specific percentage, but yes. And that's what's crazy to me because I don't know. I hear people saying it was rigged and all of that. For me, it's one of those things where it was like, other than Tanisha Johnson, which you just made a valid point. The prosecution, other than Tanisha, was all white. She could have tried that case because her ending rebuttal for the closing arguments, it was powerful. It was
Ever.
powerful. And had that same passion been exuded throughout the whole trial and that pedal to the metal kind of attitude, then maybe it could have been seen differently. But if I be honest with you, I don't know if I think there's anything they could have said or done differently. To Gigi's point, and I wholeheartedly believe it, they weren't going to go against those cops. It doesn't matter what color they are. There's a
This
price to
was
be paid when you sit there and say, oh, yep, all of them are guilty. Now
yeah.
everybody's eyes is on. I just don't see it happening. But even if you didn't say guilty for second degree murder, aggravated assault, like were we? I don't know. I, I get irritated every time I think about that. And it's like as they're reading the verdict, they're calling each name one by one. You got 21 counts. Six, well, there are six charges, 21 counts total, right?
Seven. Seven.
Is it seven?
It was
And
seven
so
total.
as seven total, right? And so three apiece. And as they're calling them out, it's like, well, surely here comes a guilty. Now for the kidnapping, I already understood why for both of those counts it was going to be not guilty. I get that. But for everything else, I'm like, did we watch this same video? What were y'all watching? When you went back there and you
Yeah.
went through everything, and the judge, you got to give him credit. He did his due diligence before the trial started. He made sure the jurors understood everything that they would be going through, the verbiage, everything. But again, I'm just gonna give kudos where kudos are due because Gigi said it best. It didn't matter. I don't care what you say.
That's
I
not
feel
my,
like whenever they pick them, huh?
no, you go ahead because I wanted to say something after you finish.
No, I was just saying. I really believe somebody got to them before the trial started. I think there was already a decision for you to get off on 7 counts. Baby, stop playing with me. Stop.
I
Stop.
also want to talk about Mr. Nicholson, and you guys can please stop me if I have it wrong. But he does not have a violent history. Does he have a violent
Mm-mm.
history?
He does
Is he
not. He does not.
doing nefarious acts or have a
Nope.
crime? This was a life, a black man that had
Yep.
his whole future ahead of him. And it was
Yes.
taken out of here by people that's supposed to protect and serve the community. If that does
Mm.
not frighten you, I don't know what should. Okay. I mean, he was not a bad individual. He
He
had
was
his
Mm-mm.
whole
crying out for
future
his mama. He
ahead of.
cried for his mama.
So for you to do that and to be thugs and have a thugs act to do that to another human being, I mean, let alone another black man, which clearly they don't see as one of them, because if they saw
Nope.
him as a black man as one of them, I'm sure they would have gave him grace. How did it come to be, Gigi? Well, they said that he ran a red light, right? Did I get that right? He ran a
N-
red light and they chased him down. And people are saying, is that even true? Because people feel like that's not true. Now, Puzzle, is that true? Did he run a red light and they chased him down?
Well, they can't even justify that because they've been trying to get the specific reason why. They did say, and apparently this wasn't recorded, that they were following him for about a mile or two or whatever. The catch is, and it's so funny you say that, Gigi, is because Tyre Nichols was very, very, very well, he was very articulated, but he didn't yell. If you hear him, he's like, y'all tripping. He's pretty much like, calm down. But what stood out to me, and they kept saying he won't give me his hands. He never fought back. He never hit them. He never attacked them the whole time. And this is why I'm like, all of this crap is crazy. This man
What? He
never
never
fought
hit.
back.
He never
He
fought back.
never fought back. He
The man
never fought back.
never fought back. And this is where and the black men ain't saying nothing. They ain't doing nothing. Now, how are we supposed to be a black community? How are black women supposed to submit and look up to black men when one of your own has been done wrongfully and you sit back and you do nothing but gossip on your podcast?
He
Mm.
curled into a ball and he cried for his mama.
And he cried for his mom.
He
And you know
curled
what
into
bugged
a
me?
ball and cried for his mama.
You know what bothered me? During the trial, they said, you know what they were trying to do? They were trying to get him to give them his hands. He was a buck 80. Y'all some big old dudes. And you know what? If you said it was to give you his hands, y'all were holding him up while you were beating him. And the first time when they first pulled him out of the car, he leaned over on his right side and he was like, okay, cool, calm down. They could have taken that man's hand. They were doing all kind of stuff. If I had to believe why he got up and ran, he was scared. He's like, what? He even said it. He's like, what is wrong with you? But by the time they caught him, they pissed off because they had to run.
But
Because
Puzzle,
you
you
out
missed
here
the
eating
part.
donut.
You
Huh.
missed the part. When they yanked him up into the air, because that's what they did. They was
Yeah.
holding him up in the air and beating him. And that's the
Yes.
problem that I have with Memphis doggone freaking their local news when they trying to doggone freaking calm everybody down and try to justify everything.
Right.
These men literally held him up and they was beating
Yes.
him while
All
he was
because
in
of
the
a traffic
air.
light, all because of a traffic light, all because of a
Right.
traffic light, all because of a
Right.
traffic light. Something that is a lie from the pits of hell. That is a lie from the pits of hell. And this is what y'all believe? Y'all believe anything. Ooh, y'all some sheep. So they
And
beat
then he didn't even fight back.
all because of a traffic light. Do y'all believe that?
Exactly.
Press 1. If you don't believe it,
No.
press 2. And then this is the thing. It can happen to your son. This
Yeah.
right here is going to happen to your son. Trust and believe me. They're going to do more of these acts. They know they can get away with it. They're putting all these police in inner cities because they want to discipline your butt. They're going to do this to your goddamn son. And the same fear that you have right now, y'all ain't doing nothing about it. Y'all ain't going to do nothing about it. And then, okay, hell, you want strong black men? They're going to get taken down by the cops. They're going to get taken out, okay? But I guess it's this mentality. I know when I was growing up, parents used to really whoop their sons hard. And they say, I got to whoop you hard because if I don't whoop you hard and if you don't be obedient, then when the cops get to you, they're going to take your ass out of here. So it's that the mentality that they're trying to push. But then again, that failed because if that worked, it would have worked today. Clearly, that shit did not work. Hell. So
Well, you would have been you be in jail today because they tell you what they tell them kids what they can what your parents can and cannot do at that schoolhouse.
well, they're gonna
So
change
it's the
that.
prisoner pipeline all over again from that schoolhouse.
Yeah, that's true too. But I don't know. They possibly may change that because it seemed like they're trying to go back into time. But right now, as it stands, yeah.
No, ma'am. That's just for them. That's just for the administrations to whoop your kids. You still ain't
Oh,
gonna be able to whoop your kids.
oh. Yeah, I
So,
heard about that. I don't
yeah,
know if
that
you
meant
heard
yeah.
about
Trump
it.
trying to
So
that little.
they are allowing, you want to tell them what they're allowing in the states that the schools can whoop your kids with the ruler? Go ahead. You can tell them.
So, so what? That little orange character. Because I don't know if she allows names being called over here. Because this is my first live I caught in live and living color. I usually catch the replay, but that Joker just signed an executive order to allow your children to be physically disciplined at that schoolhouse. Now, you still have to sign for that to be okay, but administration is allowed to physically discipline your children at that schoolhouse. But depending on your state, like I live in North Carolina, I'm only allowed to swap my kid across the butt 3 times legally at a time. But
And then, did y'all hear about the mask? You can't wear the mask no more either. They making that illegal. You
yeah,
can't wear a mask, but y'all can bring a pow pow. The mask ain't killing nobody, but them pow pows is. It's all about control, and they mad because of the past. This is revenge.
it is.
It's always been. It's always been. It's always been about
I
control, and
just
it's
love
it's
y'all
crazy.
too. Oh, I just love y'all too. Ooh, y'all are a dynamic couple on this panel. Oh, okay. I need to chime in more when y'all on here.
Yeah, we and I got to do a better job with bringing these topics versus bringing some bull crap that I have been doing in the past. So I have to do my due deals too, because the makeup of this channel, it does result in what I'm producing, what seeds I'm planting. And I have not been planting great seeds in the past, I do admit.
Yeah. But I mean, Gigi,
You
you've
look good
been
in
doing
red though.
lately. You've been.
Yeah.
I know she's trying to be a spicy something right
She's
now. I
trying
don't
to be
know. I don't know what to
spicy.
say. Yeah. But I mean, and that was the other thing that just stood out to me with Tyre Nichols. It's like all of that crap about did they do good policing? That man didn't even fight you back. Like you are some cowards. And it reminds me of like some of these bigger dudes be like, I bet you won't come over here and hit me like you hit him. Man, look, let them get they whooping. Somebody
But
need to beat they ass.
I'm so frustrated with the black men in the community. I thought they wanted to be leaders. How could
Yeah.
you really be leaders when you sit back and you see your own black male get taken out of here that didn't do anything that justified him getting beat down by 5
Hmm.
cops
Hmm.
from running
Right.
from the rail light? I mean, do
Right.
you really think by you sitting down just gossiping that makes women feel like, okay, you guys are really protectors in the community, and anything happens, you always see black women in the front lines marching and trying to do something to bring about justice? Okay,
Yeah.
so what are they doing?
May I ask a question?
Yes.
What do we as Black women expect our Black men to do? And I think that becomes a conversation with Black men and Black women. Like, what do we expect you to do?
To
Because
go out
a
and
lot of the times, we as Black women don't communicate. We just expect because of how we grew up and we were raised. Like me, I was raised by my mother, my father. I shouldn't have to tell you what I expect because I was raised by my mother and my father. A lot of these Black men are not being raised in a two-parent home. So you have to tell them what you expect.
well, okay, this is what I expect. I expect a group of Black men every day to be present in that courtroom during that whole trial. I expect at least 7 to 10 podcasters that have a big influence to come out and give their thoughts about it from both sides. I expect them to be hands on when it comes to Black men and Black women in cases like this. Okay, that's what I expect. I expect them to start raising money to help these type of cases and to bring more understanding to community, to let people know exactly what happened and the reason it is. Just like y'all push all this twerking, just like y'all push all this other shit. How about that? I expect those same Black men to also get these celebrities involved, pull their ass by the coattail. Y'all talking about y'all celebrities, y'all love everything, y'all have a platform, use your voices. I don't want to be in politics. What the mean? Everything is political, hell, especially in this
It
time.
is.
So hell,
It is.
pull their ass by the fire, and that's what it is. And then when
I'm
I don't watch Fox all the time, but I do watch Fox just a little bit. Some shit just run through me. So these Fox individuals, the white men, they telling these white men how to act. They said you guys should not be leaning, because a real man don't lean. Okay, they are saying that you shouldn't go to the grocery store with your woman because a real man don't do it. But they're also, aiming at Michelle Obama and Barack and Miss Harris and her husband. They're using those as an example as these are not men. Um,
Mhm.
so they're sending out subliminal messages, and these incels, they are picking it up. And I think communication is a must. I think that the community must be more communicate more effectively. And
So I
yeah,
have one question for you.
yes.
If I'm able to put you in contact with one Black man that is a YouTuber that was in the courtroom since day one and has been there every day since the one day that the family did not show up for, which was Saturday, will you have a conversation with him? Because he's been there on like since day one. He has been there. Or
Yes.
is that not enough because he's just one Black man?
No, it takes a community, right? Don't y'all say it takes a village?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it takes a village. And why wouldn't other Black men want to get on board with this when it comes to protecting and getting justice for another Black lives? If I see that Black man as me, then why would I want to get myself justice? I mean, Black people in a community, you guys say you're a community, but you don't see yourself in one another, and it shows.
Yes, ma'am. Because he was there every day of the trial and he recapped everything.
Uh,
And I didn't feel like the family or the YouTubers, the Black YouTubers that showed up, received that amount of support. I feel like George Floyd received more support than this case did. This case was not live streamed on every national channel.
Yeah, and I think that you have to get the young people involved too. These Twitchers, get the young people involved. I mean, every young person got parents. What are these parents doing? Why aren't they trying to
Yeah, I'm
influence?
that parent. I got a 23-year-old, a 20-year-old, and a 14-year-old at the house.
Yeah, but I'm saying, okay, think about this. A lot of young people, they are famous. Black young people, they're famous. Their parents are great influencers, can say, hey, let's talk about this, let's talk about that. But I'm assuming, I don't know. Well, I don't want to touch that because I got a white audience, and I don't want my white audience to think I'm too pro-black and shit. You know, I'm trying to make this.
My apologies. My apologies. I'm gonna go on mute.
No, I'm not saying me. I'm giving an example how I feel that some people are. I'm not talking about me. You thought I was just talking about me?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I did, because you said you got a white audience. So I was just like,
No,
oh, let me be quiet.
I was role playing like the other young black Twitters or
Yes, ma'am.
Twitchers. So
Yes, ma'am.
please, I know some. I was just role playing. You guys, that's not what I'm saying. Okay. Okay. So I was saying this, let me break it down. So maybe I didn't do a good job with explaining that. I was saying that you have young, famous black influencers. They have parents. So their parents could be a great influencer to say, hey, let's talk about this. Won't you mention that? Won't you explain this case to your audience? These are young black people that's in your audience that may have to face this one day with their relatives or themselves. You know, do your justice. And I was saying maybe some of these young people may feel in their head like, I don't want to rock the boat too much because my audience is Caucasian and they make me good money. And I don't want to lose out on sponsorship by talking about this type of stuff. You know, that's what I was saying. I didn't say me myself. So did I make that clear now?
Yes, ma'am. Most certainly.
Okay. I don't want y'all to run with that narrative.
No, no, no. I wasn't gonna run with it. I definitely was not gonna run with it. My platform ain't big enough to run with it.
I know it size really don't matter. You know, you can have something you can create a platform tomorrow and all it takes is one video and it can hit. You can have a big platform with a lot of people and shit ain't just hitting. So, you know, that doesn't matter. But, you know, one person mindset, one person opinion, it does matter to me. Like, it can run, it can soar oats and it can grow. So I just wanted to clear the air because I heard it and I just wanted to clear that because, you know, just because you felt that way, other people may felt that way too. So I just want
Yeah.
to.
Well, I thank you for that. Because I mean, I'm not gonna call you Gigi, because I mean Gigi is like grandma to me. So I'm gonna call you auntie.
Okay. So I did also want to talk about this and want to bring awareness to this guy. You guys may be familiar with him if you have watched the All That's So Raven show. I'm going to put him up here, and he has a message to everybody that is heartbreaking. Let's listen.
It's Rondell Sheridan here. On April the 10th, I was on the road and got sick. Went to the hospital and they thought it was gastric. I got home on the 12th, immediately went to the hospital at Northridge and was told it's pancreatitis. Tons of tests. I was in the hospital for 9 days. I got released and I thought I was on the road to recovery. But it was just for observation. My pancreas is inflamed, and there's not much you can do about it but just wait for the inflammation to go down. I didn't realize that I was going to be and will be out of work for quite some time. I'm setting up this GoFundMe. Hey, friends, it's Rondell Sheridan here.
All right. So that's what that is about. Some people are, when I saw that, my heart broke. Okay. Sorry that happened to him. Anybody that's dealing with any health crisis, you know, my heart goes out to him.
Right.
And it looks like a lot of people are raising money to help him. But I guess my issue when I read the comments and people were blaming Raven Simone and they felt like that was her duty to do so, I disagree with that. I feel like she's nothing but a celebrity. She did her
Right.
job, getting him a job. But what about the church you go to? What about the pastor? What about what about Trump administration to help cases like this for healthcare and free healthcare for all? A lot of times I just feel like a lot of the community, you guys attack the wrong people.
Right.
But what are your thoughts about this, both of you all?
Would say, I mean, you can't give full responsibility to Raven to pay his medical bills. Number one, just because someone's a celebrity doesn't mean they have the money. That's number one. We don't know what her life looks like. And then number two, we don't know that she's not helping, but you can't say, oh well, she should be funding. No, that's not her responsibility. Because although this may have come out of left field and he didn't expect it, if she can assist, great, but you can't put that pressure on her just because she worked with him. That's
Right.
her on camera dad, not her real dad. And so it's funny because some celebrities do feel that pressure. Like, oh, when something goes wrong, then you are responsible for A, B, and Z. No, they're not responsible. Just like anybody else, from the kindness of their heart, they can give, they can do. They have no requirements or responsibilities to do it. My heart goes out to him. And I'm sure a lot of people will give to him and he's telling his story, but you can't put that on her. That's too much pressure to put on one person because she worked with him. That's not her responsibility.
I agree. I feel like people got to give because they want to. It got to come from the heart. They shouldn't be
Mhm.
forced because of public opinion. Someone says, why would Raven not be able to assist him? Because she don't have to. She's not obligated. That's
Right.
why it's her
Mhm.
right not to if she don't want to. This is a grown man. I'm sure has a wife, family, kids. I'm sure he got God in his life, and
But not only that,
it
this
says
show is still airing on TV.
she. Oh, it is.
It's still
She
airing. If it's still not airing on TV, it's streaming. So he's still getting paid. He still
got
got a check coming in.
Okay, it says she's always bragging about her money. That is her right to brag about her money, but it does not mean that she's obligated to pay a grown man medical bills when she don't have a relationship. I would say he should be thankful that she gave him a job. You know, he could invest and did certain things. I don't know. Like I said, I'm sorry that he's gone through that, but to try to blame Raven and put her down because she's not extending or paying the bills. I think that's
Right.
a lot. I tell my mama this all the time, and I get on my own mom because she extend her hand too much and she feel like she's obligated to do stuff for everybody else. And I'm like, stop doing that. You know, just because they're your family, they have to be able to do it, pull the bootstraps up themselves. And
Right.
you think they appreciate you, they don't appreciate you. They look at you like it's your obligation, okay? And you get stressed out and you mad because they disappointed. Let their ass be disappointed, okay?
Right. Because I can guarantee you, when you need
Um,
them, they're not gonna have that same energy.
Hell no, because they look at you. Well, what you need me for? You the one. This. It's not.
Mhm.
They don't give that love back, and a lot of
Exactly.
times they get mad at you because you do have certain
I
things.
love I love you beautiful ladies, but I practice gender roles myself. So I'm gonna have to drop down because I'm starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable because I'm agreeing with you guys in certain aspects and then I'm not agreeing with you guys in certain aspects because I practice gender roles.
I mean, I don't mind. What are your thoughts? If you can disagree with me, I'm not gonna get mad.
Um
Correct.
I feel like this would be a good topic for another content creator to come up on y'all for y'all to go head to head with it. But in my personal, because I have one that's going to be amazing for you. I really do. I have two actually. But for me, I don't think it's necessarily up to Raven. I don't. But to sit up here and keep saying that she gave him a job, everybody benefited from that work. It wasn't just Raven that got them the job. Everybody got each other's a job. Like it just wasn't Raven that got everybody the job. And I guess that's what I have a problem with. Because like you want the black man to stand up, but then you discredit the black man and be like, oh, you just here because of Raven, because it's that's so Raven's show.
Well, let me clarify why I said that. I said that in response to people are saying that, you know, Raven owes him the money. Give him the money because you have it, versus being thankful that if it wasn't for Raven, he would not have a job because the show was all centered around Raven.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So to me, it wasn't really direct to him, but it was direct to those people that say, just be thankful. He had work. You knew who he was because of Raven. So
Okay.
how do you feel about that? Is that still a diss?
I still feel like it's a diss. I really feel like, I mean, for me, I feel like it's a diss only because the show is what it is because of the characters that was involved in that show. And it wasn't just Raven that made that show the way it was. It just so happens to have her name and she was the main character. But everybody played a role in that. That's just like saying a different world would be a different show if it weren't for Bill Cosby.
I agree. Bill Cosby made that show.
So, like, if you take Raven out of it,
It
it
won't be
probably
back to Raven.
it would have been a different show. But if you even take that father figure out of it probably wouldn't have been the same either. So everybody helped each other out.
But
Um,
be that as it may,
it would have been
I think in this
just
situation,
hold on, pause. Just
I'm
like
sorry.
Will Smith, in the show Fresh Prince, he is the show. You got stars, and then you have co-stars, and then you
Hmm.
have people under that. The star makes the show. If it wasn't for Will Smith, Fresh Prince would not be Fresh Prince. And they did replace the mom, and Fresh Prince was still Fresh Prince. So I disagree with that statement. But
But it wasn't the same once they doggone freaking replaced the original Vivian. It wasn't the same.
it still ran the same
It's
people.
I mean
It's
it still ran several seasons, but it
still
wasn't the same.
it did not go under. Now, if you would have replaced Will Smith with someone else, it would not have success.
I
So
completely agree with that.
I'm talking about as far as the success because it's around the star. You know, if it's a show about Nicki Minaj, if Nicki Minaj is not in it, it's not going to run. Nicki Minaj, if she has somebody to play her father, we can replace the father. It's still going to run because it's about Nicki Minaj.
I can
Well,
see
two
where you're going with that.
comments. I
Go
got two comments for that. So I'm gonna address what you all are talking about, but to what you said a moment ago, be that as it may, that they all people think they all made the show with this specific concern, them saying Raven should be, she should have more responsibility helping him. I still feel like, despite what show you were on, who brought what merit to the show, it's not her responsibility. That's what I was saying. But then the other point is that when you're saying, like, you think that the shows would be different if the characters were different, I have to disagree with that too, because I want you to think for a few moments. Like, if you think about different shows that have been on TV, when they identify a main character, you do have supporting roles like the mom, the dad, the Aunt Vivs of the world. The guy that played the dad on That's So Raven, the one that's sick right now. But if you take Raven away, if you take Will away, right now, if you were to go ask someone about who was in That's So Raven, they're gonna say Raven Simone. If
I
you ask
don't know
someone
this.
who was in Fresh Prince, what'd you say?
No, I say you're right. I don't even know the guy character name.
Right. If
Like
you
I
were
don't.
to ask someone who was in the Fresh Prince of Bel Air, they're going to tell you Will or Carlton. You'll hear that. If you were to ask someone who was in the Cosby Show, those supporting roles, just like he got sick, you'd be like, oh, yeah, that was the dad on That's So Raven. So I disagree in the aspect of, remember, they build the characters around the main character. So that dad role had to be something that would kind of support her role. You could take everybody away and you can put a bunch of characters back in there, because I can
Hmm.
guarantee you, and this is a true statement, when Aunt Viv was replaced, yeah, you knew she was replaced, but after a while, didn't nobody care. That show went on, and Aunt Viv and whoever else was doing their thing. But I can guarantee you, when Will Smith was ready to move forward and do bigger movies, that show ended. When
Mhm.
Whitley or Dwayne or whoever played, when they did A Different World, when your leading characters leave, your supporting roles, although they play a factor, they don't matter, and nobody is going to be able to specify. I'm guilty of this. If you were asking me about a show I can name some of the main characters, but if you were like, you know, the person that played the cousin, I'm like, who was it? And you would have to send me a picture, or you would have to send the name and I'd have to look them up. So that's where my disagreement comes in,
Mm-hmm.
because although you do have all of these supporting roles, you have a leading role. For example, the spin of Bel Air right now, where they have it on, what is it, Paramount or whatever. The gentleman that plays Will, if they take him away right now, that show is not going to succeed, because what they did is they found a character that could fulfill some of the same mannerisms, and the way that he acted, the things that he did, even almost kind of looking like him, because that's something that brings back memories for people. So
Mm-hmm.
whereas I can agree that everybody, they take a supporting role, they're going to base those shows on a lead. The show is called That's So Raven. The show is called Fresh Prince of Bel Air. So it's like, although everybody can play a role, you can replace everybody. I forget what movie it was when they were like, I am the star. I forget who it is, but there, unfortunately, in these aspects, that's just how the business works. Once they find their leading character, they're just building everybody around them. And if
Oh,
they bring in a different person, that's just kind of how it goes most times.
yeah.
May I respond real quick before we move on to the next topic? Because I already know how Madam does. So I guess that's for old type shows, because the shows I watched today, All American, Spencer was the leading role. I never thought that show would be able to continue without Spencer. And
Hmm.
that doggone show has done amazing this season. I was actually shocked. So it is possible to remove a main character and the show continues.
Mm. Is
Because I never thought All American would go as far as it has gone. So when everybody's saying, oh, she's ill informed, she's not understanding the comments, I've seen it happen.
oh, people are saying that's true. Now I don't know the show. I haven't watched it.
I
Is the
haven't watched it either.
based on a one person, or is it based on a
All
collective of people?
Yeah, All American is based off of a professional football player, and
Okay.
it's going in terms of his life from high school into going into the NFL. And he moves on with signing his first NFL contract, and then he disappears from the show. He only makes appearances, and the show is continuing, but the show is based around him, and the show is still continuing.
Mm. Is the person, is he a celebrity?
um he's this is another thing that I'm gonna have to break down, and let me get your name right.
GG.
No,
They
no, no, no,
they said
no. I
what?
can't see, because I'm on my phone, so I can't see. So the co-host, I'm gonna call her the co-host. So
Oh,
Puzzle.
puzzle piece, me.
yeah,
And
there you
they
go, puzzle. Yeah,
also,
because I can't see right now. So puzzle
according
piece.
to
So
your
puzzle. I'm
they said
sorry.
they said, according to your statement, this is people that are agreeing with you. They said Roseanne, they took her off the show and turned into the
Ain't
comp.
nobody talking about that white lady.
Okay, well, Trinity was trying to support your
I
idea.
I I get it, and Roseanne is a good example too. Roseanne is a good is a good example too, because she was on them pills when she went on that racist rant, and the show continued. But that's also not a good example because they just got canceled.
And they said it was not that popular. And Roseanne, what is that show without Roseanne? Because I used to watch because of Roseanne, but when Roseanne, and I'm not a fan of Roseanne because of her personal beliefs, but Roseanne, the character, that was the main focal
Yeah, like I used to love the show Reba until I found out her personal beliefs, and I don't even watch that show anymore. But that show's still airing.
point. Mhm.
But All American show that's on CW, I'm not exactly sure what it is on everybody else's things, but that main character left, and it's still flourishing. Everybody's still speaking about that show.
Well,
Everybody's still
I
speaking
guess
about it.
it is possible. But I don't see it with Raven or Will Smith because they're so big celebrities and people are
Mm.
drawn to them. But I guess it is
But
possible.
that was also an older show too, though.
Yeah, they
It's
are
kind of
old
like
people.
keeping up with
Watch
keeping up with
the show.
yes.
Yeah, maybe things have changed because I really don't watch a lot of new shows.
I don't
I
either. That's
think
what I was gonna
I
say.
think y'all will like All American. I think both of you guys will like All American if you get into it. I think you guys will like it. It's on Netflix.
I'm gonna have
Okay.
to check
Um,
it out. But I think just to that topic,
Okay, let
you
me
think
ask
about it.
to be controversial, and then I have to let you guys go. Okay,
Okay.
just a little controversial. Okay, what about? And I don't even watch the show, but I hear everybody talking about it. What about the Netflix show You? If they took that white dude out, would it be the same?
I try to get into that. I try to get into that series, and I couldn't get into it.
To be
I can't
honest with you,
voice over.
I
He keeps.
watched it. I did watch it. And I think because of the way he plays that role, if they can't find a character that can kind of portray it and do it the way that he does, it may not be the same. But with that one, I stopped watching it because it made me feel a little uneasy. It felt too real. But I can honestly say if they were to remove him, I would wonder who could do and play the role as well as he does.
He's
That
so
would be a
much as a
concern.
celebrity that I don't know. I feel like once you're so much as a celebrity and then somebody replaces you, we're always
Hmm.
gonna we want the what about such and such, and it's gonna be hard
Hmm.
because they're
And
such a big celebrity.
Puzzle, that's where I can relate to you on in terms of that. Like I agree with you guys on the older shows, the classic
Hmm.
shows. I agree with you guys on all of that. It's gonna be extremely hard to remove those characters and it still be the same. But
Correct.
Homeland Security, as a veteran myself, that show, once they removed that main character, I couldn't watch it anymore.
Mm.
I couldn't watch it anymore. I mean, because he came back and he was turned and he was against the United States and he just set the United States to be attacked.
But you
So
know what? With newer broadcasting and shows right now, to the point that you're making, they can replace these stars because guess what? They're trying to make as much money as possible. You think about you're telling Gigi and I about shows that we've never seen and some people have never heard of. But you think about back in the day. We didn't have all of this technology and all
we
of
did
these things. So
not.
watching those
Hmm.
series and those shows, we were able to relate. I even think about Saved by the Bell, the Brady Bunch, all of these different things. You sat down, you watched it, and these were shows where they resonate with you now. And you think back to like, man, I remember A, B, and Z. You replace those characters, we're gonna know because we were so in tune. Now it's so much that you can go out and watch and stream. There is no one thing. And so sometimes when they take those characters away, unless you are just a diehard fan, if you watch it this week and go back and catch it 2 months from now, you may not even realize that that main character wasn't there because nobody is sitting still to just focus in on one show right now. There are so many different options and ways that you can stream it. So I do think there's a major
Oh,
difference
you
in
about to be
how
my
everything.
therapist. I need your number. You about to be my therapist.
You guys, I enjoyed you all, but I do have to go. Hopefully, I can come back later on and do another show. But I just want to say thank you, Puzzle. Missed you so
Thank
much.
you.
And thank you. How do I pronounce your name?
You can just call me Peanut Butter Face, but it's
Butterface.
Chandelier. It's
Thank
Chandelier.
you, Chandelier. Thank you, Peanut
Yes, ma'am.
Butter. Okay, I see you guys later. Thank you all for liking, sharing, subscribing here at the Messy Sweet Spot. And maybe I will see you guys later on tonight. Bye.